sales meeting of the year, and I appreciate you guys joining me. I know everybody can't make it because it's Martin Luther King Day. And so what we're going to do is we're going to try to keep this short, sweet, and then we're also going to have a little panel of agents that went to the Mike Ferry event to just kind of share with you guys what they took away, what their thoughts were, and maybe what to expect for 2019. So does that sound good?
Yep.
Yep. Good. All right, perfect. So real quick, reminders. Okay, so I wanted to remind all you guys, right, first off, that it's my job to recruit agents. That's part of my job, right? It's because I want to be an influencer on people. But I can't do this by myself, right? And so if you guys are in a position, or if you guys are in a transaction with an agent that you feel would be a good fit for our company, then I want you to come and see me and say, hey, listen, I spoke to Joe Smith, and Joe seems like he would be a really good fit for our company. And basically what we do is we bonus you guys, okay, for each person that you bring on board. Okay, so if you guys have anybody in mind, come see me, come see Meyer, let us know that you think somebody would be a good fit, and then we'll pay you. Fair enough? All right, second, mastermind this Friday. Who wants to know more about solar? Anybody? Good. Okay. So I have one of my good friends who's also a rep for Sun Solar. He's going to be here on this Friday, and he's going to be explaining exactly the difference between lease and purchase, and the discrepancies and all the secrets that we might want to know as real estate agents, because solar's not going anywhere, right? As a matter of fact, I think with new construction, they're almost requiring it to each house to have. Javier, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
So therefore, maybe he can create some clarity for us, you know what I mean, and give us some good advice on solar. So that's at 11 o'clock on Friday. New agent onboarding, okay, so anybody here that has signed a contract with us in the past 30 days, we are having our new agent onboarding on Wednesday, the 23rd, between 9 and 3 o'clock. So I need all of you guys to be present and ready to learn, okay? And then any of you guys that have already been through the onboarding, if you guys just want a refresher, you're welcome to join us as well, okay? And then lastly, guys, are all of you guys on GroupMe under post your numbers? Everybody's there, right? Okay, so I want you guys to get re-engaged with that page, right? And this is basically what it looks like, but, I think it's important for us to post our numbers, because it holds us accountable to what we're doing and what we're not doing. You know what I mean?
Under what?
It's on GroupMe. It's on our GroupMe page.
Yeah. Do we have a new group?
It's called Post Your Numbers. If you're not on there, then we'll send you an invite, Becky.
Yeah, because when I changed my phone, I didn't realize that I had to re-update each app. So
Okay.
I updated it, and I have like 500 GroupMe things from you guys
Perfect.
for like 3 days. So I was like, wow, they were talkative.
How many of you guys track your numbers on a daily basis? Okay, so almost all of us, right? So it's a good way of holding each other accountable, so that way we know, so we can hold each other accountable. Does that make sense? So let's not forget to start posting our numbers on there. I think it'd be helpful for everybody. Ali Sean's goal for the next month, I guess at least, is 22 contacts per day. So let's go ahead and hold Ali Sean accountable to 22 contacts a day, okay? All right, moving on. Last month was the last month of the year, but it did not stop these three individuals from selling real estate, okay? So Alex Doredia, give him a round of applause for taking 4 listings. Mario Mariscal opened 4 transactions. Give him a round of applause. And then Ruby closed 3 transactions, so give her a round of applause in December, okay? Real quick, so the topic today is going to be the 2019 and the changing market. Has everybody felt a little change in our market by chance? Like a little bit of difference, right? And so before we get started with that, I wanted to share my goals with us as a company, right? Because this isn't a me thing, this is a we thing, okay? And I can't, just as you guys share your goals with me, I want to share my goals with you as a company owner, okay? So last year, at a glance, we closed 376 transactions, so give yourselves a round of applause, guys. Okay. Total sales volume of $73,300,000, and we paid out 1.83 in commissions last year. So congratulations, guys. More importantly, our per agent production last year ended up at 13.5 transactions per agent in this office. Okay, so that's really good news. And the reason why I say that is because the average agent in the United States right now closes 4 to 5 transactions per year. So we are almost tripling what the average agent in the United States is doing right now. Okay, here's another statistic that you guys might want to know, is that last year in 2018, 51% of all the real estate agents in the United States, out of all of them, 51% of them did not sell one house.
Oh, wow.
So over half. I went into our MLS this weekend, and 53% of the real estate agents in Kern County did not sell one house in 2018. It's crazy. So, let's give them a round of applause, because that means there's going to be less competition in 2019, right? And that's what we're looking at heading into 2019. Again, company goals for 2019. I want to share this with you, but our goal is to close 528 transactions. I want a total sales volume of $118.8 million. Total commissions paid out, I want to set that at $2.99 million, and I want our per agent production to be 16 units per agent by the end of the year. Okay, so I'm going to raise that by 2.5. Okay, ultimate goal for 2020 is going to be 24 units per agent sold, because we've done that once and we can do it again.
20?
24.
Oh, 24.
Yep. All right. So real quick, I'm going to share some notes with you guys just from what I learned personally from the Mike Ferry event, and then we'll go ahead and bring our panel up here. First off, Mike mentioned that there's 4 things that you should rate yourself on. Okay? And if you want to write these down, then I would suggest doing so, right? But number 1, you should rate yourself on your work ethic. On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your work ethic look like right now? And be honest with yourself. No need to share your numbers with anybody, but what does your work ethic look like? Number 2, how would you rate your overall skill set right now on a scale of 0 to 10? Number 3, how would you rate your attitude? You have a good attitude? You have a bad attitude? What does that look like? And then number 4, how would you rate your production? How would you rate your production versus the goals you set on a scale of 0 to 10? Okay, so like for instance, if your goal was 24 and you sold 12, well then you're a 5. Does that make sense? And I wrote down that it's important to understand that the economy has no significance in our personal production. So what we're doing is we're heading directly into a shift in the market that's where homes are going to sit on the market longer. Not every house is going to sell. Sellers are going to have to be more realistic on price. For sale by owners are going to need us more than they have needed us in the past 7 to 8 years. Or 6 to 7 years. We're going to have to understand, knowing that we love. How many of you guys like taking listings? Say aye.
Aye.
All right, good. We're also going to have to learn the fact that we got to work with buyers. And this is the first time in 17 years I've ever heard Mike talk about working with buyers. Okay, but we're heading into this situation right now. Okay, so he broke out a little report, but I'm just going to cover a few of these. But really what it is we're heading into the most normal real estate market that we've seen in over a decade. Okay, because 2003 to 2007 it was straight up. 2007 to 2012 it was straight down. 2012 to 2018, 35% increase in pricing and all that good stuff. So therefore, what we're seeing now is this. Does this make sense? The market's doing this. And we need to be aware of that when you're talking to your sellers. You have to be very, very clear with them on price. In this market, you may potentially walk away from more listings and not take them versus taking an overpriced listing you know that's not going to sell. Okay? So in a normal market, listing inventory is growing again, and it's coming back to normal, meaning that buyers have choices, meaning that the buyer frenzy is going to go away. You know, for the past 7 years, what we've seen is that buyer frenzy where they're like, just 100%, give them 100% of what they're asking, or let's just hurry up, multiple offers and all this good stuff, right? Well, what we're going to see, being that the inventory is going up, is that frenzy is going to slow down and buyers aren't going to be as quick to pull the trigger. Does that make sense? Another note that I wrote down is that normal, as stated above, we are moving quickly from a seller's market to a buyer's market, which will make sellers unhappy and buyers very happy. Okay, so buyers are going to be happy because they're going to have choices and prices are going to go down. It's going to make sellers upset because the price that they thought the home was worth isn't worth quite what it's actually worth. Another point, normal market. Agents that work the expired market. How many of you guys work expireds? Okay, so agents that work the expired market will see expired listings more often than they have in the past. That's good news, right? Yeah. You can expect anger and frustration from the expired listings. Part as them looking backwards, from them looking backwards, back in the past, what the prices were and what they are now. Fantasy land and reality. Does that make sense? Another one, for normal market, listings will be on the market for an extended period of time versus a few days or weeks without having multiple offers. Over the last several years, unskilled agents could take a listing, it would sell quickly, and the agent thought that they had sales talent. Okay? So talent and skills are really going to come into play as the market shifts. Okay? And that's why we're in a good place, because that's what we practice a lot on, our skills and talent, or building your talent. But yet, agents that actually thought they were good, because they took a listing and it sold overnight and whatever, that's not going to happen anymore. So therefore, those agents might consider looking for a different job, or they might work more buyers. Okay? Here we go. Normal market. For sell by owners are not selling quickly, and more than ever, they're going to need a good agent that has sound advice. Okay, so, in the past 6 years, for sell by owners, a lot of them sold themselves. Would you guys agree? Mm-hmm. But now heading into the market that we're heading into, they're going to need us, Dahlia, more than ever before. They're going to need somebody with experience. They're not just going to hire the cheapest agent like they've been doing in the past either.
Well, because now those cheaper agents are going to have to work for it.
Correct.
They can't afford to only work for a cut rate commission for 3 to 6 months.
Absolutely right, Becky. So here we go. Normal market. Sellers are lowering prices and skilled agents are helping them make those decisions on a regular basis. So skilled agents specialize in setting the right price. Unskilled agents take it for whatever it's worth, okay? Just a few more notes. Okay, so 4 things that I learned on day 2, right, were foundation. Foundation is huge. You've got to build a foundation in order to build a great business for yourself, okay? And the foundation comes down to building skill set, tracking your numbers, showing up like it's a regular job, putting a good 8 or a great 8, okay? Those are all foundational type skills. Second thing that I learned was we got to get back to the basics of real estate. Okay, so like for instance, there's a lot of systems and tools and all this magic potions and shiny objects that's available out there. But really what we have to do and what we have to understand is we have to get back to basics. And the basics are very fundamental. and they're very proven to work if you just stick to the basics. Give me a couple examples of what basics are in real estate. Oscar.
Door knocking.
Door knocking. Okay, prospecting, right? Alex.
Calling.
Phones. Okay, what else?
Lead follow-up.
Lead follow-up. What else?
Appointments.
Going on appointments. Just sticking to the basics, okay? It's not buying that new program and hoping that all these buyers will want to buy a house off me. It's not that. It's just the basics, the fundamentals. Customer service is a basic, right? Because you are paid directly in correlation to how much service you provide your client. That's a good point, Becky. So then number 3, the market is becoming normal, is what I learned. And then the fourth thing is that that I've got to, and you have to, increase the amount of contacts that you're making every day. And that's real. That's some serious stuff right there. That you have to increase the amount of contacts per day. What only matters, you're learning, is what you're learning and what you're applying. Okay. So what I took from this event, right? They had panels of agents. They had, how many panels did they have, Elliot? Like 6 panels. And each panel had a panel of 4 or 5 agents that were making over $1 million a year. Okay? And there was 94 real estate agents in the building that made over $1 million a year in real estate. Okay? So they happened to pick, panels of 4 or 5. But one thing that each and every agent on that panel said is that I've got to increase the amount of contacts in order to supplement and make the same amount of income that I made in 2018. So what is your contact goal per day right now, Oscar?
At least 30.
30 contacts? Okay, good. Alishan, 22. So, 30 may have to turn into 40. 22 may have to turn into 30. So on and so forth, right? In order to get the same amount of results as you got in 2018. Does that make sense? Okay. One more set of notes, and I'm going to stop talking. How many of you guys have a system on how to work buyers? Okay, so we have a system. Anna, you got a system. You're like the systematic buyer god. Okay, well, our system is very close to the system that Mike presented to us. Okay, and you and I spoke a little bit about this, Elisha, on Friday. But basically, to work a buyer, you have to have a system in place, okay? And here we teach you a 5-step process on how to work a buyer. You guys know the 5 steps? Perfect. Step 1 is they have to get pre-qualified. Thank you. Qualified with a lender. Step 2, during the qualification process, between the time you meet them and when they go to see a lender, we have what we call a buyer profile sheet. And you fill that out completely, so that way you know everything about that buyer. Does that make sense?
I kind of do that before.
Before you meet them?
Before I start to get pre-qualified.
Okay.
I already have an idea of what they want.
Fair enough. And again, I'm not going to, you can change the wheel because you're good at working buyers, so whatever it is. Number 3, or step 2, I apologize, is we meet them at the office first. We don't meet them at a property, right? And then we pre-qualify them ourselves, right? We go through all the questions and confirm that what they told us over the phone is still true, because it could change, correct? And then number 4, we pick out 3 properties ourselves. We don't let them pick out the properties for us. But we pick out the best 3 properties to show them first. So like for instance, if I had Matthew as a buyer today and he came into the office, I'm going to sit him down, I'm going to run through the buyer profile sheet, confirm that everything is still the same. And then I'm going to ask Matthew, okay, well listen Matthew, between the time we talked and now, I've picked out the 3 best properties, priced and condition. We're going to look at those first. Is that okay?
Yep.
He's never going to say, no, I don't want to look at the best properties first. It's not going to happen, right? So I'm gonna pick those properties out, okay? So then, step 4 is I'm going to have him sign a buyer loyalty agreement. And you don't ever show a buyer property without a buyer loyalty agreement. How many of you guys have had a buyer cheat on you guys before? I know I have. Okay, good. So we've all been cheated on. And one way to avoid being cheated on is to have them sign a loyalty agreement. So if I ask Matthew, just sign this and we'll get started, and he says,
No.
then I'm going to ask him specifically, why won't you sign this?
I don't like signing contracts.
You don't like signing contracts? Well, I don't like working with buyers that don't like to sign contracts. So, but with that being said, I mean, we have to make the decision whether or not we want to work with Matthew because of the fact that potentially he's going to cheat on me. Does that make sense? A buyer loyalty agreement is nothing different than a listing agreement with the seller. Would you guys ever take a listing when the seller says, hey, I'm not going to sign a contract, but go find me a buyer and I'll pay you?
No.
Who would? So it's the buyer loyalty agreement is nothing other than listing the buyer. Okay? And then of course step 5 is I'm going to take Matthew out and show him the 3 best houses. Okay? And you know, Mike says every single house, ask him to buy it. So I show Matthew a house and I say, do you want to buy it? And he says, no. I take him to the next house, do you want to buy it?
Nope.
Take him to the next house, do you want to buy it?
Nope.
Okay. So that's a little bit abrasive if you ask me. And so what I would suggest doing, and what's worked well with me in the past is this, is I take Matthew out and show him the first house. I ask him, what do you think about this house?
It's okay.
It's okay? Perfect. Take him to the second house. What do you think about this house?
A little better.
A little better. So is this number 1 or number 2?
Number 1.
Okay, perfect. Take him to the third house. What do you think about this house?
I don't like it.
You don't like it. So the second one I showed you is actually number 1 on the list, right?
At least 3, yeah.
Okay, perfect. What do you want to offer?
I want to look at more homes.
You want to look at more homes, but that house had everything you're looking for. So specifically tell me why you want to look at more homes.
Don't have that home feeling.
Okay, doesn't have the home feeling. I'm going to try to nail him down the first day. Okay? But he may say,
Yes.
okay, so what do you want to offer him?
10,000 less.
10,000 less. Let's do this first. Let's call the listing agent and find out, get some details from him. I'm going to put the listing agent on speakerphone in front of you. Dahlia, hey, it's Lee. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm great, thanks. Hey, I've got a buyer here at your house. We want to make an offer on it. How many offers do you have?
5.
5. Great. What's the highest offer?
It's over asking.
It's over asking. So if you were me and you wanted to get this offer accepted, what price would you recommend we come in at?
Over asking.
Over asking. So is that 2,000 or 10,000 over asking?
10.
10. Okay, perfect. I hang up. So what do you think about offer?
10 over.
Okay, right? But if he says 10 under, well, it's really hard for you to argue with that because you heard the conversation. Does that make sense? Thank you for helping me out with that. All right, so that's the buyer process, guys. You guys have to have a system in place in order to work with a buyer, because if you don't have a system in place, then they'll create a system for you. They'll drag you around town week over week over week until they finally find the right home. Or cheat on you. Does that make sense? So the quicker that you find a buyer home, the more they like you. The longer it takes to work a buyer, they start thinking, is he or she ever going to find me a home? And then they start talking to their friends, well, you know, you should probably go see Daisy, because Daisy, I heard she's a really good agent, so on and so forth. And then before you know it, they're cheating on you. Does that make sense? All right, so I'd like to invite Miguel, Alishan, and Elliot up to the front, please. Give them a round of applause, guys. All right, so real quick, I wanted to have these guys come and share with you what they learned at the Mike Ferry event, okay? So we'll just start with you, Elliot. Tell everybody your name, how long you've been in the business, and a little bit about what you learned.
Elliot, I've been in the business close to 3 years now. It'll be 3 years in April, I guess. And second Mike Ferry event, at the big events. I went to a smaller one, but biggest takeaway for me was mindset. He kept drilling mindset with the market shift coming. The best agents have the strongest mindset, and we could hear that. But how do we apply that? So the big takeaway for me was before you hit each dial session, have the mindset of setting a listing appointment or an appointment, buyer appointment. If you're calling buyers and follow up, set an appointment, and the kind of pressure mentally to put yourself under is if you were going to lose your license today, if you didn't set an appointment, would you set an appointment? And everyone, of course we would, if it came down to it really. So that to me was like, all right, if I can picture that before I hop on the phone, then hopefully I can set that appointment every day.
So as far as mindset, you mentioned it again. So if the board of realtors came to you guys today, right, Mahavir, and they said, listen, either you go find a listing today, otherwise we're going to take your license tomorrow. Would you guys be able to go find one? Of course. Yes. So, but that mindset, that mental pressure, is I think what you're referring to, right?
Right, and just to develop skills. With the shifting market, you said more contacts, and like for instance, they had a guy on a panel who was up north in California dealing with the fires. So he already knows in order to meet his numbers from last year, he's going to have to make more calls because part of the population's homes are lost and people aren't trying to sell, and so in order for him to make up and maintain where he's at, it's more contacts.
How many houses did he say that were burned up there?
In his direct area, 1,000, but in like his county it was
Surrounding
like
areas.
27,000. So.
And then how many people were in escrow or listings that he lost? Did you mention that?
I don't remember the numbers, but it was like.
It was like 50% of his inventory burned.
And then it would go expired, and then you would call, and then it would be like, oh, sorry, my house burned down.
Yes. Can you imagine? Thanks, Elliot.
And they also
Yeah,
brought
that's
up too with that was an opportunity to provide the better customer service. I mean, here half his clientele was going through real issues, and he said that instead of stepping back and feeling overwhelmed, it was an opportunity for him to step up and be there for his clients, which I thought was pretty powerful as well.
Thanks, Elliot. Ali Sean, tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and how long in the business, and what'd you learn?
My name is Ellie Sean. I'm originally from LA, lived in Bakersfield about, 5-6 years, just graduated from college, and then came back here. Went to San Diego State. I've been in the business, this is my 7th month in the business, and this was my second Mike Ferry event.
That's pretty good, too, by the way. 2 Mike Ferry events in 7 months.
Yeah, so I wrote down 3 points that really spoke to me from personal experience and from what I've heard other agents kind of dealing with also. And the first one was the word failure. So me, I'm a driver. I don't want to fail. I hate failure. But it was realizing that the faster I fail with everything, the sooner I will be successful. And so Mike said something, and he quoted, "Succeeding is going from failure to failure with a big smile on your face." And it's learning from your failures that will make you better the next time around instead of making the same mistake again. So I guess just for me, it's when I do something wrong or when I look back and think I should have done something differently, just telling myself that it's okay and next time I'm not going to make the same mistake. So the next point is learning how to be a great performer. So not everyone is very extroverted, people don't love talking to people all the time, but I can definitely say that if you are a great performer and you speak with confidence and you speak with kindness in your heart, you're gonna find people who actually need your help instead of all the people who say no. But also realizing that you're gonna get maybe 50 no's, and then you're gonna find that one person who actually really needs your help and is just completely lost and they don't know what to do. So again, just being confident. And number 3 is to never accept the word no when there's a yes still on the table. So a lot of people take the path of least resistance, and when someone says no to you, you hang up and you say bye. But just keep digging, and a lot of agents don't keep digging. So when someone's rude to you on the phone, when someone gets you down, just remember that they still might need help, and people just don't have the skills or experience, like you mentioned, to know how to keep digging. But that's why all of you are going to be different, and you're going to keep digging and get that appointment.
So when you say, like, talking about the failure parts, can you repeat that success is?
Success is going from failure to failure with a big smile on your face.
I love that. Okay. And so with that being said, like, when it comes down to failure, embrace it, right? So, like, we have a number analyzer that, are you guys all using the number analyzer?
Yeah.
Okay. So the number analyzer tells you how much each no is worth, right? And so it makes life a lot easier to get a big fat no when you know it's worth $50, right?
Yeah.
That's really good. So, okay, good. Miguel, tell us who you are, where you're from, what you're all about, and what you learned.
Well, my name is Miguel, as you guys know. I'm from LA, so I just came here for what, like maybe 3 months,
Mhm.
3 months ago. And I'm in the business. I got my license back in November, but I've been full-time since April. And what I learned about this, my friend, basically was, one of the biggest things for me was to set a standard. You know, setting standards, you may ask like, oh, like, what do you mean by setting standards? Well, you need to know which people you wanna work with. Like, you just don't wanna get someone that might want to buy or sell in 1 year or 2 years. You have to basically put your little like gauge on the target that you really want. Basically, for example, myself, I wanna get people that want to buy or sell in the next 10 to 30 days, and I had to look for that people.
And that's a standard.
specifically. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a standard for me. Like, I want to work with only that people. And if someone told me, oh, you know what, I want to buy in 1 year, well, that people, trash. You know?
Yeah.
Like, why do you want to waste your time, you know, and your energy and someone that doesn't want to do anything? So by setting a standard, and it could be like on all the process, you know, I want to have like the numbers, you know, I want to hit 20 people, at least 20 people every day, you know, that's in the standard, you know. So be specific on what you really want and try to hit it all the time.
So standards would include contacts per day, right?
Contacts,
Appointments per week.
yeah, exactly.
The type of person that you want to work for, right?
Yeah.
Not just anybody off the street, right? Standard of maybe somebody who's going to follow your direction because you're the professional, not them,
Exactly.
right? Standard could also be cutting your hair, putting on makeup, keeping the car clean,
Mm-hmm.
date night with your wife once a week. It could be in all areas of your life.
Yeah.
But in business,
Being in time in the office. all
hours spent in the office, hours spent on the phone. That's big
Exactly.
time. What else did you learn?
And another thing that really hit me like a lot, like, and everybody was pumped about that thought, you know. So basically, this guy, well, another things from what you said, work only with motivated people. Like I was telling Lisa today, there's a difference between the people that wants to buy a property, between the ones that have to buy a property. You know, if I tell you, you know what, I have to buy in 1 month, it's someone that is motivated. You have to see the difference between that. Between, I just want to buy a property in 6 months. Which one do you think is the strongest? I have to, or I must. You see the difference? That is the people that you really want to work with. Anyways, going back to the other thought, is if you want to be a millionaire, basically you have to be rejected 1,000,000 times. You know, like there's no other way. You have to basically make rejection your best friend. I mean, it sucks, you know, but that's the way that's how this business works. So you want to be a millionaire? Get rejected 1,000,000 times.
Just get used to it.
Yeah,
It's part of the job.
exactly.
Yeah. Good. All right. Anybody else? You guys want to have any last words?
I just think going there and being around a bunch of people is pretty eye-opening. You know, we mentioned several times all the people that were $1 million a year GCI, and some of you might think, well, they're in LA or Beverly Hills.
They're not.
Some of these people are from Kansas, where the average price point's $175, and they're doing 200 deals a year, and their population is less than 100,000. And there's, you know, when you mentioned earlier, it doesn't matter the market you're in. These people are proving it, you know. And you go to an event like that, you get to talk to them, shake their hand, what's working for them. What
And
do
they're
they
normal,
do?
right?
Yeah. And that's like a big, you can't put it, you know, to words. Like just to hear these people's story and what they do, it's worth the trip to hear. Because for me, you know, California, I was like, oh, California price point so high, LA 500,000. You hear these agents killing it, and then you hear people like in Kansas outperforming these people in these huge price points.
In Tennessee.
Yeah, in Tennessee, all over, South Dakota. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't matter. That's pretty powerful. I mean, there's no excuses. There's people. What was the one lady? It was like, literally, population was almost nothing, and
Yeah.
she's still closing 100 deals a year.
Population was like 30,000.
Yeah, 30,000, and she's doing 100 deals a year. So
She basically sells the whole city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She works with herself.
So,
But she makes over $1 million a year in her little town.
So us here in Bakersfield, with a population of 400,000, what's holding us back? You know.
It's ourselves. It's you know, to answer that, it's always ourselves that prevent us from accepting the fact that we can make $1 million a year. You know, anybody in here could make $1 million a year, but it's the commitment and it's the mindset. I think, like you guys spoke about. You know, you have to accept the fact that I deserve $1 million a year. You know.
I think one of the strong things too that he was a speaker in July and a speaker again this time, and they talked about his background. This guy came from Africa and migrated to the United States, lives in Seattle, and I mean he's a big agent. I forget his numbers, but he's definitely doing big things. And they asked him what he did before he got into real estate, and he was basically healthcare
He was a CNA.
for elderly people.
Yeah.
And his thing that kind of really touched everyone in the room was, you don't want to be old and poor, you know? So like, he worked obviously hard for his family, and now he built the only library in the town where he's from, and he's done a lot in his life, and that was a big takeaway for me too, mindset. You know, I gotta do it now, because tomorrow's never promised, and we're gonna get old before we know it.
He made 1.24.
Yeah, he made $1.2 million. Yeah, and he had a great look to him too, great smile. Miguel, so there, not all of us have accents. Nita, you have a little accent, right? A little accent.
I think
A little bit. Well, Miguel has a strong accent, right? Would you guys agree? Yep. And Miguel's, I think one of your mindset issues before going to this event was your accent.
Yeah.
Like you felt like people wouldn't accept you because of your dialect. But there was a gal that was on stage that had an accent that was worse than yours.
And actually, I want to share
Erica, yeah. Have you spoken to her yet?
Yeah, that's who I spoke to.
Yeah.
I know, but did you since then?
No.
Oh.
I sent her an email. But she's remember.
So she basically works in the Silicon Valley.
In Taro.
Yeah, with Intero. And she basically, you know, more likely the majority of the Silicon Valley is going to be Caucasian or whatnot, and very, very educated. So what did you learn from her that day?
So basically, if you put like barriers in your mind, it's just because of you. Because like these guys show that, like even this guy from Africa, I think he had the worst accent, and he's killing it.
Yeah.
You know. So basically, like I said, you know, like rejection is your best friend. So I just have a little example, and I told Matthew on Friday. I got a guy that told me I was actually trying to work Walter's listing. So he told me, you know what? Call me back when you learn how to speak English,
no way.
but clearly.
Oh wait.
You know, he told me that. And I told him that. You know?
Next.
So instead of that, I just laughed. You know, like that's life. I'm gonna get rejected. That's fine. That's life. So you have to continue. I wanna be a millionaire, right?
Yes.
So I have to keep on going. That's it.
He had a good attitude about it. I'm
Yeah.
impressed.
Give him a round of applause. Applause, guys. Thank you for sharing. Thank you very much for sharing. All right, let's end this meeting off with the boys. Anna, you ready? Let's go.
Serious.
Yes, come on. Stand up, guys. Come on, let's go.
I have a sore throat, so I'm not gonna scream, okay?
That's fine.
Now I am the voice.
Now I am the voice.
I will lead, not follow.
I will lead, not follow.
I will create, not destroy.
I will create, not destroy.
I will believe, not doubt.
I will believe, not doubt.
I am a force for good.
I am a force for good.
I am a force for God.
I am a force for God.
I am a leader.
I am a leader.
I am a leader.
I am a leader.
Defy the odds.
Defy the odds.
Set a new standard.
Set a new standard.
Step up.
Step up.
Step up.
Step up.
Step up.
Step up. All right. Good job, Anna. All right. Javier, nice to see you. Nydia.
How are you doing?
Good, good. How are you?
I didn't get a chance. Thank you so much. With your that really great. Really good. It was a pleasure meeting you. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, Gil too.
Hi, how are you?